Illinois Firearm Owner ID card is the subject of a hearing at an Illinois Appellate court today. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. You can follow along at thecentersquare.com. And let's go ahead and get into this. This is the latest in the case challenging Illinois' firearm owner identification card law. The case was brought by Guns Save Life, and it was ultimately shot down in the Sangamon County District Court. All right, so this is state court. This isn't federal court. This is state court. But the case was shot down by the Sangamon County Court. The plaintiffs took it to the appeals court. The state attempted several times to try and delay it, even trying to put a stay on proceedings because the similar questions were being asked, they alleged, in other cases, but plaintiffs pushed back and said that's not the case. This is about the FOID card. It's not about anything else. They're challenging the constitutionality of it, and you could see the appeals court ultimately shot down the state's request to postpone hearings and ordered a hearing. Now, we had thought the hearing was going to happen several weeks ago, but they rescheduled it, so it's today in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals at 1 o'clock today. All right, so 1 o'clock on December 19th, that's today. But clearly, the case has had its round and round in the courts. A previous case that Guns Save Life took up didn't advance, but this new one in the circuit court getting shot down, now going to be heard by the appeals court. And if you want to follow along this afternoon at 1 o'clock, you can see the hearing. It's going to happen on YouTube. The Illinois Appellate Court 4th District page on YouTube will have live proceedings of the oral arguments. So we'll obviously watch what happens there, take good notes, and we'll talk with John Bach from Gun Save Life after that case proceeds there. Something else, though, while this case is in state court, and previously when I've talked to Bach, the case challenging the constitutionality of the gun ID law, he says he's willing to take it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. But let's take a look here at some of what we have on the global national stage. Right, Illinois is one of 4 states that require some form of gun ID. Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Hawaii, New York also has their own scheme. Illinois, though, stands alone with Massachusetts in requiring a license to possess any sort of firearm, not even just to carry it in public. So the FOID card in Illinois, for instance, got to be 18, meeting certain criteria. It costs $10. They've got a universal FOID card that they've recently updated. Massachusetts requires anyone who buys or otherwise acquires a long gun to have a FID card. New Jersey requires anyone except a gun dealer acquiring a long gun to have a present firearm purchaser identification card. So those are just some of the different examples that there are in these types of laws across the country. So could the U.S. Supreme Court take up a case? If you go to the U.S. Supreme Court's website and you search the dockets, you'll see Maryland shall issue Inc. versus Wes Moore, governor of Maryland. In this case, it was filed in front of the U.S. Supreme Court September 27th. You had motions filed, and just on the 16th, the last bit of briefs in response were filed. So will this be put on the docket to tackle in the upcoming U.S. Supreme Court term? Again, that's Maryland's challenge of their gun ID law, and actually one of the filings in that case actually mentions the Guns Save Life case. So again, here's the filing to the U.S. Supreme Court. Just the question being presented, whether Maryland's handgun qualification license requirement violates the Second Amendment. So that is a case that the U.S. Supreme Court could tackle. But while that's going on at the U.S. Supreme Court, you've got in state court in Illinois a challenge of the gun ID law. Whether or not that's going to, be ruled from the bench. Highly doubt that. The appeals court judges will likely take it under advisement, and we could get a ruling from the appeals courts to either strike the law down or say it is constitutional. But the arguments are, after the New York State Rifle Pistol Association v. Bruin case, they say that the standards have changed, and there is no historical analog from 1791 of people having to possess an ID to exercise their Second Amendment rights. But in Illinois, is the FOID card working? Obviously, there's 2+ million FOID card holders in the state of Illinois. You have to have it in order to possess or purchase firearms or ammunition. You've got to pay the fee, get your picture taken. You can provide fingerprints if you want to speed up the process. So there's a variety of different things about the FOID card here in Illinois, but it's been challenged, especially after in 2018, 2019, there were backlogs of people getting their FOID cards renewed. And it got to the point where state police were issuing a piece of paper saying, your application is being processed. Please note that this should be good to go to a gun dealer and say, hey, he's got an updated FOID card. But gun dealers were like, whoa, this is a little troublesome. Now, they have worked through some of those backlogs, but there's a whole host of other things. The FOID card follow-ups to get guns out of the hands of people with felonies or who are prohibited persons, for instance. We've got a lot of debate about the red flag laws and whether people should have police confiscate their firearms if there's an order of protection against them without a hearing. These types of arguments continue to go on, and the FOID card in Illinois plays a role. But is it actually really being enforced? Here's a post on X from the Cook County Sheriff's Office somebody tagged me in. As part of the Sheriff's Police River North Initiative, community safety team officers arrested 19-year-old Camry Bowen following a routine traffic stop. He was found with an illegal loaded handgun affixed with a laser and an auto switch, rendering the gun fully automatic, with no FOID card and no concealed carry card, as well as suspected cannabis. Officers attempted to get charges approved for felony unlawful use of a weapon, possession by the state's attorney's office, but it was denied. Bowen was released with non-discretionary pretrial release conditions ordered by the court during his initial hearing. The public's reminded the defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So, again, having the law in place, is it actually being enforced? While it's being challenged in the courts, all of these things we'll be watching closely, and be back with us tomorrow morning, and we'll break down the arguments that were heard by the appellate courts on the Illinois FOID card challenge. We'll share comments from John Bach from Gun Save Life, the plaintiffs in that state case, while we look and see what happens with that challenge to Maryland's law that could come up in the U.S. Supreme Court. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell with America's Talking Network, and get the headlines in your inbox each and every weekday morning. And don't forget, podcasts. Anywhere you get podcasts, search Illinois in Focus.